Hello, and welcome to Rough Cuts, a show made by creators for creators. I'm looking at all you creators out there. I know you're out there.
That's a threat. You threaten everybody?
I know you exist. Don't try to hide from me. Anyway, I'm Dylan, not your actual host. This is your actual host, Josh.
I'm your host.
And let's not forget about our man in the back,
Hello.
Jermaine.
Our operator.
I'm
for the
Jermaine.
day.
I'll be asking the questions for this lad.
Yeah. And let's just preface
thank
this. These questions have to do with our own Dylan and his experiences as a theater. I still can't say it right. I still don't know
We
which one it
gotta
is.
do an exercise.
I'll figure it out eventually. A theater kid and a filmmaker, and how they contrast, how they compare, and everything. So,
Two worlds split.
Jermaine, let's start off with a question not on there. Just whatever you think of. First thing comes to mind. Go.
Okay. Dylan,
Yeah.
how has your experience been so far with the whole juggling filmmaking and theater at the same time?
Oh, that's a good one.
It's actually been pretty easy because with theater, at least, I'm not like searching for productions. It's usually just a community theater, and then there'll be a summer one maybe this year. But like, I might actually be taking a break for a bit because like,
From theater?
yeah, because at least for our community in town, like, we might need to look for a new director. Like, I don't know what's going on there. Like, because the art director might be retiring. We're not entirely sure, so we'll have to figure out what we're doing in the summer. So I don't know if the community theater is going to be doing a show in the summer.
Mm-hmm.
But, I mean, if I have the time, I probably won't. I do know a guy who does his own company called Aftershock Entertainment. He does his own theater productions, like his own original musicals and everything.
Oh, that's really
And
cool.
plays, yeah.
Like, is he a playwright?
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know if other people put on his shows, but like he also does a shit ton of stuff. Like he has a
Interesting.
YouTube and he does D&D and everything.
So you're thinking you're going to take a break and just kind of focus more on...
Probably. If a community show happens,
Mhm.
I'll definitely be in it probably. But I probably won't be out there searching for a show because
Okay.
I have this and my part-time jobs for the moment.
Mhm.
But
Okay.
yeah.
So...
Right. Question one.
Let's go to the actual questions on the document that we have.
Okay.
Jermaine?
So, do you enjoy film or theater? Producing, hold on, sorry. Do you enjoy film or theater producing more, and why?
Well, theater producing, the thing is like I'm in the cast.
Yeah, I'm just...
So like
Like the production of
like
it.
being in a production more.
Yeah, the production. Like, which one?
Well, the thing is, I've been enjoying being on film sets a lot, but like the thing is, I mean, it depends on what context because there are signs where it's just us. Like when we'll just be a client job, it's just three of us. It's fun. I like doing it. But then like I don't know with theater, I think it's just because one, it's a big cast. You get a room of stuff to do on the stage itself.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. There's just a lot to it, but I think when we get to make our big film productions, I'll definitely get that feeling. So I
Okay.
think right now I do get more of the rush from theater, but I also enjoy doing the filmmaking
Because it's...
because I'm hanging out with my friends
it
and
feels
also
more
doing
like
a job.
like a group setting kind of
Yeah.
deal for you. Okay, I get it. That makes sense.
Yeah,
Well,
and there's also just so much variety in theater too,
yeah.
especially in our community. Like you're gonna get everybody, and it's LGBTQ, young,
Okay.
old, gender.
So it really is
range.
just a matter of like how many more people there are and like the
Yeah.
diversity of it.
I think more people the better is always the case, as long as it's
You're thinking
regulated.
like for just theater based or just in
I
general?
say for both of them. It's
for
more
film and
people.
theater. Okay.
It's more fun. You get more people. It feels bigger.
So like, what is the largest film production you've been on? Because I just realized that I don't think we ever talked about that
Let me
before.
think. I think one of them there might have been a bigger one. It was either the one where we were all extras in that house party.
Right.
There were a lot of people there,
It
but
was
it was
Halloween 19.
70s
It wasn't.
or 80s.
I don't remember.
It was 80s or 90s.
It was 80s themed, but it was like
Oh, it's still modern day.
I don't remember.
No, I'm pretty sure it's meant to be set in the past because the person's gay.
It was set in the past, but I'm trying to
But
remember
the
like.
person's gay and they're like being outed at the
Well, no,
party.
they're not gay. It's actually remember the story was actually like so the it's a guy and a girl, and they are going to a party dressed as each other, and then like as he's like wearing the girl's outfit, he feels very comfortable about it, and that's whenever he kind of discovers that he's trans.
Oh, holy shit! I never knew the
You
plot.
didn't know the story?
Well, I had no idea. We were
Yeah.
just sitting for hours and hours.
Yeah,
It felt like being on a set, though.
it wasn't. It was an actual set. It was a student film. I don't know. I probably didn't tell you anything about it. I just realized you just.
Well, I
you
never
show
got
up.
to see it. I really want to see it. It's not on YouTube, is it?
It's not because they put it into festivals and it won a lot of awards. It done really well.
Oh, we should check it out sometime.
Yeah, we should find it. But like pretty much
Yeah.
the whole thing about it was that we were asked to be extras on this by like a mutual contact. So we just came there dressed in like our Vegas 80s kind of themed stuff.
Oh,
and
yeah.
then we were put in different costumes.
I remember our friend gave us Halloween mask, and the one I got
Yeah.
was so messed up. It was actually really awesome.
Yeah, and we were just extras at this Halloween party that was for a scene in the movie. And it was just really cool because we got to see a lot of how they were producing things. And it was a student film for, I believe, a student at Temple. And, like, they put it
Yeah,
all
yeah.
together. They had crowdfunded it. They had, like, really nice equipment, like, really nice lighting and all. And I was just like, damn, this is nice. And, like, it was just really interesting to meet other filmmakers and, like, just see kind of different things.
Yeah, and the only other one that might have been bigger was the roller rink music video we were in,
For Mike and Mark, yeah.
which never got finished, I don't think.
I don't know if it did. I remember seeing a draft of it. I think it is finished. I can double check afterward, but that was an interesting one because it technically
Yeah.
would have been bigger because
Yeah.
people didn't show up.
Yeah, I almost broke my ass trying to roller skate.
Oh god, roller skating.
I have no ass, so I just felt my bones hit the pavement
Yeah.
every time. It was rough. But there's actually footage of me falling down. It's really funny, apparently.
I think that it's funny. The two biggest film jobs that you've been on have both been as an extra for jobs with me.
And Mike and Mark are friends.
Yeah, that's just funny.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. Well, then to contrast that, what's like the largest theater production you were
Theater
on?
production? It's probably one of the community ones.
Mhm.
I don't know which one. I think might have been Oliver, maybe Music Man. I mean, it's usually in the 30s, but I believe there was one or two where they had like full families in there that was like 40 something.
So you are a very like community-based person whenever you work on projects, huh?
I'd say so. Yeah.
Like you like
theater helped like build that up because obviously I was an introvert and I still kind of am.
Mhm.
But when I'm in that context, I'm very more talkative. I listen in. I like listening in on not gossip, but just people.
you like being a bit nosy, know what's going on.
Yeah, well, I'm just there, part of the crew,
Oh.
part of the stage, part of the crowd.
Oh, part of the crew.
Yeah,
Pirates of the Caribbean.
Yep.
Jermaine, take us to our next question.
All right. So, do you enjoy film acting or theater acting more, and why?
This is weird because I haven't done a lot of film acting. But do you mean for me personally or just in general?
Both.
Both, yeah.
Okay, so for me personally, still I'd say theater because but even then sometimes theater you usually have a lot more space because you have to project out to the audience, especially in the people in the back. But I do it too much. Every note
Too
I
much
have
projecting?
with this director is I'm always told to dial it back because I put too
I
much
do the same thing
energy
to you.
into my hands. And,
I do the same thing to you whenever
Yeah.
we're like film acting when you're on camera. I'm like, hey, Dylan, tone it down a bit.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
But it's just weird because theater, you have to be a little. I mean, it depends on the character you play, but yeah,
It's interesting.
film
because,
and
like,
acting is exceptionally personal though.
yeah, because like the contrast between film and theater acting, I feel like really is the fact that like you're on stage and like people can't necessarily see your face.
Yeah.
So you do have to be more expressional. What's the
With
word?
your body.
Yeah, you have to show more with your body and like kind of like flamboyantly showing something. Whereas
Yes.
like on film, you get those close-ups.
Yeah.
You don't really need to do the extra kind of like hands and stuff because
No.
it really is like closer. So it's better to be like more subtle.
Yeah.
But it's just interesting because like
It's all about those eyes.
yeah, it's in the eyes. It's in like the subtle like just little facial features where it's like eyebrows kind of furrowed or whatever.
Yeah, the littlest expression you can catch on
Exactly.
on film easier than
But
you could in
can't
theater.
on theater necessarily, unless like I guess
unless they have a big screen.
Yeah,
but that's rare usually. I mean, unless it's a big ass theater.
But I was thinking about like how there's times where like I'm casting for a film project or something, and there's people who come to me who are theater actors, and like when they are showing their acting, I can kind of see it because and how their mannerisms and how they like project what they say certain things. Whereas like there are some people who are just generally like they were just doing film acting, they were just doing like video stuff. And you can kind of see like the contrast of those people.
It's two schools of thought.
Yeah, and it's just interesting because like at its core, it's both just acting, but you don't really think about it unless you're actively in both of those. How just subtly different they are.
Yeah, and then if you're going to talk about in between, I guess the in between would be voice acting because a lot of voice actors are Broadway people.
Yeah, and like voice acting, you do have to like show more with just your voice.
Yeah. And I mean, it's not always true, but 9 times out of 10, if you're a good voice actor, you usually are a good singer. Even if you're not trained.
I heard that Mark Hamill when he voices the Joker.
Yeah,
because there are people who are in the the vocal booth studio when they're talking. They're kind of just sitting down. They're just saying their lines. Apparently, he stands up and he just becomes this weirdo. He becomes a Joker, and his face all changes and stuff. I thought that was like so cool because it's just like it's still weird. It still boggles my mind that Luke Skywalker is the Joker. Like I think about that all the time because you think of Luke Skywalker, you think of this noble-esque hero, and then you think of the Joker, the crown prince of crime, and like these are the same people.
Honestly, I think he's a better voice actor than on screen.
I kind of don't blame you I don't disagree.
Yeah.
I kind of can. And it's so funny that like there's so many times where I'm like watching a show and then it takes me like a couple minutes to realize, oh, that's Mark Hamill.
Yeah, he was Fire Lord Ozai as well.
I didn't know that for the longest time. He was Skips in regular show.
Oh yeah.
And it's just weird because he does a lot of shows like that, and you're just like, Luke Skywalker's in this.
Yeah.
It just
Cartoon Network cycles a lot of their voice actors. So like I'm watching OKKO.
Yeah.
And previously I watched Summer Camp Island. Yeah. And voice actors from Summer Camp Island are in OKKO and vice versa. It's like Cartoon Network constantly recycles their voice actors.
And people jump from studio to studio because Azula from Avatar is also Mandy on Billy and Mandy.
So something that's really interesting to me about voice acting and like what you were saying about how like they recycle voice actors is I noticed that like they do that a lot, but not even just like show to show, but like or even like network to network, but they do it from like studio to studio because it is a community, you know what I mean, and they probably like suggest each other
and the union too.
Yeah, exactly. And it's honestly it's really good because of like the fact that like voice actors are using their voice. And some of them are like coughing up blood with how much they are like putting the strain on their voices. Yeah. Have you heard about that?
I don't know about that, but anime, I'm not surprised. Oh, yeah. Especially Japanese voice actors. Oof.
It happens in like for like straining your voices and stuff. That happens with actors too. Like they get too much into the role and they lose their mind. Heath Ledger, a few others. Content like it's. Once you get into that mental state of either voice acting or regular acting, it's kind of what people say it's kind of hard to get out of because you're like in that mindset for like a week until you eventually get out of it.
Oh yeah.
We should definitely have a voice actor on the show and totally just talk to him. I actually have somebody in mind.
Yeah, we know that guy.
Yeah, we have a future episode planned. There we go.
Anyway, I guess
let's go off voice acting because I don't think you've ever done voice acting. And go back on to you. Next question, German.
All right. So, what do you think the pros and cons are between filmmaking and theater?
Okay. Well, with filmmaking, I mean, there's a lot more roles and less, unless it's a big movie, it's usually more technical crew and less, cast, actors. It depends on the production, though. Well, I'd say in theater, it's usually, at least unless you're doing Broadway, but at least usually more cast and less crew. So I guess if you're doing like a community theater production, like sometimes the crew isn't professional, and that could be a con. Like sometimes they're high school kids, but like usually it's someone that can at least press the buttons, and at least the director knows how to tell them what to do. And also, like, you have to worry about the stage. Mike's last show I was in, I went through 2 mic packs in the same night.
Like they died, or
like they just wouldn't work. Like they just exploded or whatever. They just died. Like they couldn't be used. Just my unlucky pocket, I guess. Yeah. But yeah, and with film, it's a lot more because like problems can persist even after filming, like with the edit, and sometimes like in dire situations.
For film productions, you have pre-production, production, and then post-production. You don't have that for theater.
Yeah, once you run the shows,
it's just production.
Yeah.
Unless, you are doing...
If you're doing a Broadway or just a show that keeps running, you just have to keep it up.
Yeah.
But once you do your production, and once it's done, it's just done.
Well, that's for like...
And you have to strike.
It's kind of similar for actors on film, for the most part.
Once they're done filming, they're done.
And like most of the crew, it just more has to do with like, the editing is still something to worry about.
Yeah.
Like the official release.
There's a separate crew for that.
So it's interesting. From what I'm hearing about you, you genuinely do favor being cast more. Just in general.
Well, that's what I've done more. I do enjoy being, a character and stuff. But I also just enjoy making stuff. Be it entertaining people, me making my own stuff to entertain people, or helping people make stuff. I just like making stuff and entertaining.
Okay.
In general. But I'd say, casting or acting is probably my favorite.
Okay.
Aside from creating.
Yeah. Let's just go to the next
question. Next question.
The next question is kind of a repeat of a question we already did. So,
vaguely, yeah.
Between filmmaking and theater, what do you think is the set design for each one?
Ooh. Okay.
What do you think is either better or what's the difference between them?
All right. Well, with theater set design, I mean, you only have the one stage. I mean, you'll have...
And it's mostly that one angle, isn't it?
Well, it's mostly that one angle. I mean, you want to consider angles, like if someone's from the side, like what are they going to see? Like how you should angle your art and stuff. Because a lot of it is art. But now it depends on the production. Because a lot of stuff nowadays is just digital. But they still will make physical sets. And sometimes they'll be both. But like for the last show I was in, it was digital things on a screen, and then we'd have physical set pieces in front of it.
Okay.
But with film sets, I mean, it only really, I think, only really shines if it's a big production. Like, say, a recent one that came out, Tragedy of Macbeth, with Denzel Washington. That was a set-heavy film. And most of the time, it's either that or there's just set dressing.
See, the interesting thing about that is I think that, like, for film, you're trying to make your set look as realistic as possible or, like, within context as possible. So it kind of is more seamless. So, it's kind of what they say about editing is, like, the best editing is unnoticeable.
Yeah, I get that.
So I think maybe that might be a similar thing with,
like
set
say
design
how you edit this room to make it, like, look, not stand out.
Yeah,
pretty much
to make it look like let's say you are making a film about a teenager in the 90s. You're gonna set it up to look like a teenager in the 90s.
Yeah, but I do respect that, but I also respect the actual set design. Like, say, I don't know, I'm trying to think classic sets like Ben-Hur when they had to make that fucking Coliseum. Like, there's an artistry to that, like making the world itself, like Game of Thrones even.
So do you prefer more like fantasy kind of over the top elements where it's just more like otherworldly?
Oh yeah, definitely. Okay. But I also just like set design in general. Like you could make like a place your own, or you just choose a location that already has a lot of nice features to it, and then you dress it up.
Okay.
Even like you don't even need to build your set. You could just make it. You could dress it up.
Yeah.
To make it look nice.
So I just thought of a pretty good question that I'm pretty happy about. What is your favorite play or musical?
Okay.
And what is your favorite movie? and how similar are the two?
Ooh, all right. I'd say they're very different.
Mhm.
Favorite movie, at least at the moment, is a classic called One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest with Jack Nicholson.
Yeah.
Are you familiar with the plot?
Yeah.
Okay,
I had
yeah.
to read the book too.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
It's a classic book too. If Jermaine doesn't know, it's basically Jack Nicholson is a guy who's trying to get out of jail. So he's being sent to jail, but he's tricking people into thinking that he has a mental illness so that he can go into a psych ward instead.
Oh.
So he can skip out on jail. But then he gets trapped in the psych ward and he wants to get out.
Yeah.
I think I might have.
And then he befriends
seen
a
it.
guy named Chief.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just big Native American guy.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
It's an awesome movie.
So that's your favorite movie
Yeah, and favorite musical, I guess.
or play? You know,
Yeah.
it doesn't have to be one you were in.
No, I mean, that's true. I think it might be. It's a little cheating, but the Broadway version of Hunchback of Notre Dame. It is very different from the movie, so I think it counts because it's
Okay.
more accurate to the book.
That's interesting. You picked.
It's technically an
Yeah.
adaptation of both the book and
Yeah, that's
the
what I was gonna
original
say.
movie.
That's just interesting.
Yeah.
So like that's such a stark contrast. I feel like too.
Oh yeah. It's the music though. It's very dark and dramatic, and also, I mean, it has the same ending of the book. So spoiler, yeah.
Well, would you act? Would you be a character in either of those? Or both of
Honestly, Quasimodo would be like my main dream role. It was
You would-
actually my dream role before the Beast. I actually been
It's
wanting to
so
be
weird that I believe that
Quasimodo for a
entirely.
long time. I mean, Out There was one of my first big audition songs.
And what about One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest? Would you be a character in that?
I'd just be probably an ensemble guy, just a couple.
just wanna be there?
dude, just there with a couple lines.
Okay. Okay.
I'm chill with that.
You know what?
They
Got
could
another
make that
question.
into a play.
I got another question for you.
Yeah.
So I just asked you if you want to act in either of those, but would you want to be in a very large film production, like let's say like it was a blockbuster AAA movie, or the same level of a play or musical, but you can only choose one, and like they're going on at the same time, like productions at the same time, and you have to just pick which one you're going to be in?
I definitely do a stage.
Really?
Yeah. I'm not narcissistic enough to be on a poster with my face on it. I'm more into
Well, no, I'm saying like think of like Broadway level. as
Broadway level
where
musical.
like they would put either way, your face is gonna be on a poster.
Oh yeah,
on either
I'd
thing.
still do the stage.
Really?
Yeah. Also, like you can interact with the audience. Also, you can like the audience sees you at all times. Like you can hear their cheers and
So
everything.
you want the actual like kind of interactiveness of being
Yeah.
like, again with
I mean,
like a crowd
with a
like
movie, if you go to a screening, yeah, you're in the audience.
yeah, but then
with
like
them.
think of it, you could go on press tours too. Travel the world.
I mean,
Meet a bunch of
can't you do
people,
press
interviews?
tours for either though?
Yeah.
Well, it depends on the Broadway show. Like
Yeah.
some Broadway shows actually go around the world, like world tours. So I'd be doing the same kind of stuff there. But yeah, I'd sing stage still.
Interesting.
Yeah,
What
and
about
also,
you, Jermaine? I'm just curious.
I the
what would
opposite.
you work on? I
I'd
guess.
the film.
Yeah,
Honestly, same.
Yeah.
But I think that's just because me and you are more like we're filmmakers.
Yeah.
But it's funny because you do have a stage.
Yeah.
Like
I have
experience. I
experience.
haven't. But it's just
Yeah.
like, I like the process of filmmaking so much that I feel like I would pick that over almost anything.
Yeah. Now, if it was a musical movie,
I see. So
because like I get to sing.
If
every
it was a
night.
musical movie, I would be on
like
top
West
of
Side
that.
Story. If
Yeah.
I was in
Yeah.
that, that'd be badass. The new one.
Ah, they.
I never thought
What
of
was
that actually.
was that? What just came out?
Yeah, it
Yeah,
just came
West Side
out last
Story.
year.
I wanted to be in it.
Really? Why?
Because they got actual Puerto Ricans.
Yeah, they're
That's
all Puerto
one of the big
Ricans.
parts about it. Because
Yeah.
the
Oh
my
original
God, it's
had
your
people
people.
in makeup,
Mm-hmm.
and it was
Which is
very
racist.
bad. I mean, yeah, there was a.
did
Greek
anyone
guy.
see In the Heights?
Yes, I saw that with a bunch of
Was it
film
good?
friends. Yeah, it was great.
Okay, I didn't see it.
It's not West Side Story, but it's
'Cause
good
it
shit.
feels like, isn't it vaguely kind of West Side Story esque?
Well, yeah, I mean it's the same. There's no there is romance, but it's not like rivalries. It's about
Yeah.
everyone in the same community trying to work together.
Yeah, see, like it gave me like it's an interesting kind of
Yeah.
contrast. Like instead of like the whole like rival gangs, it's just one community all
Yeah.
kind of together.
All trying to get that money, all trying to survive and
Yeah.
stuff. It's a good shit. It's good shit.
And then like, see something that's so interesting to me about thinking about like
Though the musical has
musicals.
more to it, but yeah.
Thinking about musicals that are movies is like the production. I haven't thought about that. I've never done something like that because
Yeah.
like they are dancing, they are performing, but like, you know, for the most part, I don't think they are actively singing. And if they mess up like a move,
Yeah.
they can just do another take.
There are different takes though. Like I think it was Tom Hooper who did Les Miserables. He had them sing on set.
Right.
Also,
I heard
that
about
would
that.
mess up their vocals so much. It's like, no, you have to look and physically feel like you're malnourished and sing while you're malnourished. It was terrible. But yeah. It seems like every musical movie's different. And a lot of times, I mean, they just don't work out. But like sometimes, like it'll be good. Like Chicago, I think is the best example. Like it's
Every time I think of Chicago, I can only think of the Victorious episode where she's like, Chicago!
Yeah.
Chicago!
the movie is amazing though. It won Best Picture and everything. Like, it's honestly one of the only musical movies that might be better than watching it on stage.
Really?
A little
That's
close to it.
Interesting.
It's very good.
Interesting.
But yeah.
Jermaine, do you have any questions to wrap up?
Lastly, when it comes to actors, for both for filmmaking and theater,
Yeah.
in your opinion, which do you think is easier?
Ooh, acting for film or stage?
Yeah, because you know how in stage you kind of have to stay within a baseline,
Yeah.
but with filmmaking it's kind of like you have a baseline, but you can. Which one do
Yeah,
you
You
think
can
is easier?
experiment a bit.
Yeah.
more.
I'd say with film, there's so many crew members. You got your assistant, you got your script supervisor, director. You have all those people telling you like, "Hey, you can try this or that." You can take as many takes as you like, depending on this production. Like it's just you. It's pretty much just you reading the monologue or acting it out, and then you cut, and then you just do it again and a couple more times. And as opposed to, I mean, it's same with rehearsing in theater. The main difference is that rehearsing and filming is the same, but stage you have to do it all in one go. While when you do it for a film, it's just edit it all and into one film, and then you just watch it later, like almost a year later.
So it's that kind of like immediacy.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like film, you just do it and it's done. With theater, you gotta rehearse it. You gotta do the dancing too and all that. Like usually there's more levels to it, depending on the film production, of course, too. But most movies aren't musicals.
Yeah.
So
True.
yeah, and of course there's every production has a challenge. Like if you're doing combat or you have to do makeup and stuff. But most of the time you're just acting for one scene or only a couple lines, and then you're done. Until you do a bunch of takes.
Do you mean like as like depending on the role itself? Like
Yeah.
that's like a
Also, it depends on the role, too.
yeah.
But, like, say if, hey, we're just doing this angle, you don't have to do every line. I mean, sometimes they'll do the entire scene from that angle, but sometimes they'll just do a bit of that scene, like just this line from this angle, or this shot is only this line. So,
Okay.
Okay, I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Any final questions from you?
No, I've learned a lot about you and your theater and film experiences and opinions.
Yeah.
It was interesting. It was definitely an interesting episode. But yeah, I think that kind of wraps everything up.
All right, cool.
Thank you for watching and listening. You can find this on YouTube and SoundCloud and Spotify, maybe. I'm going to keep saying that until I fully put it on there.
Just remind yourself.
I'll remind myself until it happens.
Okay,
And we got Twitter, we got Instagram, and we got a TikTok.
Take a deep talk.
Tickety talk. Oh, little thing before we cut it. TikTok is what kind of made me think more about the theater versus film acting. Because a lot of times people will post like, because they're actors and they show like them doing a monologue or doing something and how they will like act it as on stage versus how they act it on camera. And I just think it's interesting how like you can actually see, because a lot of times those people are genuinely, when they're doing the theater acting, it is just like, they're doing a lot more arm things and
Yeah.
like a lot more expressive. Whereas like in film, they're kind of just like, and
Yeah.
like it's mostly just in the face and like maybe like a slight shrug or something.
Yeah.
But yeah, sorry, that was that. Check it out. You can watch some of those. Maybe we'll do one. Yeah, Dylan, we're gonna have you do one.
Okay.
Yeah, but thank you for watching, Jermaine. Any last words?
If you enjoyed this and you enjoyed most of our content, please remember to follow, like, subscribe. Keep up to date with all of the things we're doing, and have a beautiful day. Have the day you deserve, and try to be the best version of you.
Or you can steal the best version of you and steal the day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The choice is yours.
Okay. Goodbye.